Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Black Friday sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. And Cyber Monday. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here we have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just here for another great week of O&R. It is November. The later we get into the year, I start looking back at like different things that have happened in a particular month. And man, November's a pretty great month for pro wrestling.
I mean, historically, yeah. I mean, you know, a lot of the Thanksgiving stuff historically around the country, and then Survivor Series, you had Starrcade. Now we got Full Gear. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to that.
Yeah, I couldn't count the amount of on this day a couple of years ago, or 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, all kind of popping up in the past week. And I've been watching a lot of like old school stuff. So you know, just kind of randomly, I was listening to the Flagship with Joe and Rich, and apparently I think they both had been doing the same thing as well. So I don't know what it was that was going around, but I had been watching some like Boston Garden shows from like 1986, and of course, you know, I like watching old Survivor Series stuff. But yeah, I watched Hulkamaniacs versus $1 Million Team this morning match. You know, they'd be going crazy as ever. That crowd is amazing. It would have been impossible not to get over back then.
It was very hard not to be over back then. Seemingly.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, would it be unfair to call you a current day WWE hater?
Oh, absolutely.
You think that would be unfair?
Oh, no, it would not be unfair. I say you could call me that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you actually like when you watch these old shows and you watch these crummy ass 80s matches, do you actually feel like the wrestling or the booking is any better?
I feel like the booking's a lot better. The wrestling, like, I'm not really, when I watch old wrestling, I'm really not watching for like the matches, the star ratings and stuff like that. I'm watching kind of for different weird things like that I noticed. Like, what did the crowd react to? What did the commentary, like, how are they selling, you know, the storylines? What, you know, was going on with this person in this stage of their career? And, you know, just kind of like the simple kind of, you know, things. Like, I'm not necessarily looking for, you know, 2017 New Japan. Hell, I'm not even looking for modern. Look, I'm not looking for modern WWE wrestling. Like, but, you know, they booked a lot of like smart stories, I think. And then like, it seemed like, you know, the promos were awesome. Anytime they drop into a promo or something, or you'd see anything that put the match together, and just how over the people were. Like, when you see the reactions, how, and I want to see like we've all seen like big WrestleMania matches and everything like that. We know what everybody looked like on their best day. I want to see people not on their best day, kind of just like, okay, this is what this all-time legend was just doing in the middle of a house show tour. This is what this person looked like in an enhancement match. Like, why were they great? What was there about them that like just had people like, oh, this person's different? Like when Jake just comes out, it's like, it's nuts. So,
okay. Because I just wonder, because I'm like, how do you watch that shit? I just never understood it, because you really do be watching that shit. I'm like, it's just something to throw on just for comfort, and you just go to sleep, and it's like whatever. Like, it's like how white people just throw on Friends and just, just watch it and go to sleep.
I can throw on old wrestling and go to sleep, but that's world class. That's what you do. Throw on world class, and you be out in like 5-10 minutes. But of course, like the Mid-South stuff is awesome. Like if you're actually looking for like fire wrestling shows, like I'll just throw on like, the Old School channel or something like that on Peacock, on YouTube, Monsoon Classic. I love watching like Superstars and WCW Worldwide and stuff like that, like the ancillary shows. Like that stuff is like, I love that shit.
Was Worldwide, okay, Worldwide was, okay, that was a studio show that wasn't Saturday night, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, they had two. They had Worldwide and they had Pro.
Right. Okay.
But it was in a lot of days like AEW Dark up to like 2021 had a lot of that feel of some of those those enhancement shows or whatever. And like I love those.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was thinking about it. It was like yesterday had we done the show. It was like, yeah, man, 12 years since the Shield had debuted. And I had that written down, but I kind of like scrapped it. But I figure, we're going to be talking about the Observer Hall of Fame, pretty much in this first segment. So let's jump into it. The Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame class of 2024. James, your inductees: Roman Reigns with 66%. Shingo Takagi with 65.6%. Paul Orndorff with 63.7%. Johnny Rougeau, 62.7%. The Young Bucks with 61.3%. Los Hermanos Dinamita, 61.3%. Shima, Johnny Saint, and Bobby Davis. Both Shima and Johnny Saint got 60.3%, and Bobby Davis slid over the line with 60.2%. Famous manager. I know a lot of you that listen to this show know my mission to get the Junkyard Dog into the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. He took a major jump up to 53.8% from 40% last year, and he's the second man out essentially of the class. So there's a good chance that he gets in next year, and I'm going to go insane if that happens. So, of course, some other names: Ted Turner, 52%. CM Punk, 52.1%. Did not get in. Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid, 48.4%. Cody Rhodes, 48.1% on his first year on the ballot. The Von Erichs, 47.4%. I would think the movie helped them quite a bit. Mike Tenay still at his 41.8%. Grand Hamada, that's 42.5%. Manami Toyota and Toshio Yamada, 42.6%. They were up from 23% last year. Mark and Jay Briscoe.
Do you think that has to do with the do you think a part of that is the Netflix the Netflix like biopic of oh my god, Dump Matsumoto, that people are actually like paying attention and watching like some of that All Japan stuff? Obviously those were different eras. Like that was the era right after.
I think you can't discount that. I do think you have to look at Japan in total, where a lot of people, like, Japan's been cleared out and a lot of people are getting big increases. You can look at Shima getting in. He got in. He was at 23% last year. Everybody just looked, oh, might as well vote Shima. He's next. But there was also somebody else in Japan that Hayabusa was a big mover too.
Yeah. Hayabusa's like right next to like Punk, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Ole Anderson, 40%. Ole Anderson getting love.
Isn't that because he died this year?
I think it is. I think that is a death bump.
Yeah.
Jim Johnston drops 33%. I just have to assume because he's an asshole.
What did Jim Johnston do?
I don't know. No idea. I think that the U.S. Region was just so competitive this time around.
Okay.
As we can see on here. The Steiner brothers, 32.2%. Tony Schiavone, 30.4%. He's not going anywhere. Randy Orton, 29.1%. After 10 years on the ballot, I don't think he's ever getting it.
I think at this point, it's safe to say people like Edge and Orton, like, if they get in, it will be after they fall off the ballot and they're moved over to, like, the old-timers ballot, or old-timer section.
So the only thing I can think of for Edge, he's been on the ballot for 15 years. Like, he should be technically dropped next year. And, like, 15 and didn't get 50% of the vote. So he might be done for good. I just don't know if Dave didn't notice this. We'll see if he ends up on it next year.
But I thought there's a secondary section after if you get passed up on. Like, I thought this would happen with JYD, or what was going to happen with JYD. Like, he was going to be moved off to like the old timer section, more or less. Like, kind of like, you know, it mimics. Meltzer made it mimic the Baseball Hall of Fame, where like if you fall off or whatever else, you get to go to like an older committee or whatever. So you get to. So I believe in the Observer, they moved to a different section.
So I think it's just been so many years since Junkyard Dog was an active wrestler. He moves to historical.
Edge that's what I mean. Historical, yeah.
Edge does not move to historical because he's still going. So
right. But what I mean is like 10, 15, 20 years from now, right? Like that's where him and Orton end up.
Man,
in the Steiners, you know, stuff like that.
John Moxley, 26.3%. Bill Goldberg, 24.5%. Samoa Joe, 23.2%. Rossi Ogawa, 21.30%. The Outsiders, 21.2%. El Dandy, who are you to doubt El Dandy? First year on the ballot, 18.8% of the vote. Iron Sheik, 10-point jump for him, 28.1%.
What does that happen? What happened? Why did he
died? Iron Sheik died.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
He got a better bump than some people that died.
Yes, he did. I would like to now skip all the way to Zack Sabre Jr. 16% first year on the ballot. Trish Stratus somehow survives again, 10.9% of the vote. Who keeps doing this?
I don't know, but you know, she was 11% last year. Now she's 10.9. Did she lose one vote?
So less than 10%. This means you are dropped until further notice. Yep. You know, you might return in the future, you might not. Asuka, Kevin Owens, Jimmy and Jay Uso, the Usos.
Yep.
Sid Vicious.
Yep.
Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Sami Zayn, Kento Miyahara, and Psycho Clown. So those are pretty much all the votes. I guess we should start with the inductees before we start making all the jokes and, you know, anything else that we got going on. We can start with Roman Reigns. I would have voted for Roman Reigns this year. I know there are people that would not have voted for him, but y'all lost. You know, I think it's just too, like, and don't get it wrong, a lot of valid reasons, you know, for not wanting to vote for Roman, but I think it's just like too much, like it's just too much at this point, and you're probably eventually going to vote for him anyway.
Right. Like, I was listening to the clip that Voice of Wrestling put up in the flagship, I guess, this week or in recent weeks talking about it, and their point was, both of them more or less, like, the general sentiment was, I wouldn't vote for him this year, but if he has another, you know, kind of year like what he's had this last year or whatever else, they would vote for him next year, kind of. And it was interesting listening to Lanza actually like saying that he liked Reigns' earlier babyface work in the ring compared to Rich Kratos, who didn't. I figured it'd been reverse if I had this guess. But the thing for me is still like, I remember Lance was basically saying like, I think he's the biggest. I think he's probably the biggest wrestling star in the world, but I can't prove it. And for me, that's the crux of all of this WWE stuff. You cannot separate this stuff, and it's really hard to tell unless you have certain moments with certain people, right? Like since John Cena, really, you got your Brock Lesnar, like you got your old timers that come in and they pop a rating, whatever else. But like, it's really hard unless you're like Sami Zayn for a few months or Cody for a few months to come in and actually change some things where you can actually point at them and say, hey, they did something outside of the machine and this is actually them, right? Like, that's the reason why Becky Lynch on this thing and it has a pretty high... I
missed her before. Skip over
Becky's
her.
in like the 20s, something like that. Let's see,
25.2% for Becky.
Yeah, that's the reason why she's on there, because when the man became a thing in 2018 and 2019, she was actually moving business and quarter ratings in a way that like we hadn't seen. Like, she was actually for a winter, or what do you call it, a fall and a winter, she was the biggest star in the industry. And those are numbers, and those are things that, like, you can't really do with Roman, but, like, ultimately with me, when it comes to Roman and ultimately where he's done, what he's done with this, head of the table gimmick and everything in the last 3-4 years is, like, I see it as, especially this year now that he's on the babyface return, and, like, every time he comes out, like, he gets these pops like he's God himself returning back, or Jesus himself returning from the mountain. Like, I'm sorry, Moses coming down from the mountain. Sorry. But it reminds me of like the Sting stuff. Like, why did it take Sting so long to get into the Observer Hall of Fame, and then ultimately when he shows up to WWE, then in pops and quarter ratings for them, then he gets in. It's like Sting was always an Observer Hall of Famer. The bookers fucked him over, and overwhelmingly, as soon as the babyface thing did not work well as a top babyface for WWE, and everyone said, just do what you did with The Rock, where you turn him heel first. He has an edge. People will like the edge. You turn babyface. You can print money. It took Vince McMahon and the rest of the powers that be in WWE 7 years to figure it the fuck out, or sorry, 5 years to figure it out. But once they did, it's a lot of this stuff comes down to individuals' careers being altered by Vince McMahon being out of his fucking mind, right? So, like, that's a big part of this for me, is why it's like, yeah, after this thing, what happened when he turned heel and it went off, hey, look where the company is now.
Yeah, it's kind of scoreboard-ish a little bit. It's just like, I don't think we should, like, take it out on this guy for a lot of the way that he was booked. I think he came up short in some of his performances earlier in his career, especially like there's no face of the company or, all-timer, number one kind of push guy that has a worse big match like WrestleMania resume, like just stank it out year after year.
Yeah. And then you think about it, it's like, oh, they put him in Brock Lesnar for another time. They put him in here with Undertaker, who fresh off hip replacement. They put him in with Triple H in 2016. Like, it was a lot of stuff they did that were bad mistakes. And they were just like, we'll have him beat these legends, and he'll get A status. And like, he did in the eyes of people that were didn't care about like, the wrestling outside of just the company they're watching, right? The one company they're watching. But if you're watching other promotions, you're like, yo, this isn't great. This is not good. This is like actually like very, very like transparent what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's stuck in people's craw for years. 4 years. So, I mean, it's stuck in people's craw so much they were able to build the second biggest promotion in the history of the business off of the rejection of Roman Reigns.
Notable.
The rejection of Roman Reigns.
Historical significance.
Pushing that dude to be the ace. So yeah, that definitely. So for people that say, like, I'm not voting for him still, like, I get it. It just, for me, is like, I thought the dude was talented, and I thought that, and what's he supposed to do? No, I ain't ready. No one's doing that. Give me the fucking belt.
Yeah. So congratulations to Roman. Like, it's just, it's such a dramatic change what he is now compared to earlier in his career, because it obviously, he was a super workhorse. And even with this babyface run now, like, what really is it going to be? Because his schedule is so peeled back. It's going to be interesting to see, if there's further benefits on top of this. But I think he's done enough over the past, 4 years or so to get over the line. Kind of in my eyes, like there's a lot of stuff that's just tied to him.
Yeah. And we're both saying this while saying 90% of his big matches in this era have been the shit we have not liked the most from his run like in WWE. Give me his Shield stuff with Rollins and I'm gonna say Moxley and Ambrose.
I think people have forgotten how raw the Shield was.
Year when he's wrestling AJ Styles and shit. Like, give me that instead.
Like, it's been so long, people have forgotten like how good the Shield was when they first came in. He was a big part of that. Yeah. So like that stuff is kind of lost to time. Everybody just thinks Bloodline now, but he's had a whole kind of like career kind of prior to that. And then the things that they kept him doing while he was in above the belt status, and he was like, we can't make you the champion or everybody will revolt, so you got to do some other stuff. Like a lot of that stuff like was, like if you just look at it, when it came to the matches, they were like, all right, go out there and do something. And the dude had it in him. So moving forward, Shingo Takagi was a big beneficiary this year. I think he's the last guy of the golden years that need to be in, and he's in. And
sure? You're not finna do the thing?
He's already in. He got in last year.
No. You're not finna go one lower? You're not finna say the Asian Hall of Fame stands for Hiroki?
I mean, we can have a discussion. Look, we can talk about work.
So I saw someone put that in, mention that in a meme. I was like, God damn it! And I know me and Rich both like Goto, and both think like, hey man, he's one of the better wrestlers we've ever seen. He just ain't gonna get in, right? Because they bridesmaided him. He had a shot. He had shots to if they had actually pushed the button on him. In the mid 2010s, he have a title reign to his name. He might have a couple main events here and there to say, hey, this drew this in Osaka, this drew this in Korakuen Hall. But no.
We'll start making this loose Hiroki Goto case. I'm like, all right, you pull up his cage match and pull up Randy Orton's cage match, and let's compare them.
I mean, Rich, you heard me say this for years now. Pull up that Tam Nakano cage match and that Randy Orton cage match.
Get nasty,
and point out that like they didn't really start reviewing Stardom matches for cage matches until like 2020, and Tam absolutely stunk until late 2018, and she debuted in 2017. Why is it so close?
They wrestling 5 days a week over there, James. They running them into the ground
three times. Hey, but you can't say no different because ain't that what WWE used to do? He said, I'm about to wrestle, be on the road 5 days a week.
That's true. But Shingo, just one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. Did get his world title run, his headline to Tokyo Dome, a lot of quality Dragon Gate years. Came over and was an attraction in ROH and PWG in America, and then his junior run in New Japan, which is awesome, and then just basically like being the next guy after Tomohiro Ishii to just like have that rugged, big man, hard hitting, fast style. And you think about the Dragon Gate style, this is a win. Like Shingo Takagi and Shima going in together is kind of poetic in itself. I think. Like Shingo's like he's just he's wrestling Takeshita at the Dome, and I think this guy's gonna be a victory lap for him in a sense. And,
if he cares about certain things, because some of them do, some of them don't. Like I've heard, they've had Okada with a translator and Tanahashi with a translator, and they actually cared. They were actually like, yeah, I'm in the Hall of Fame, that's cool. So, but some of them, I don't think Ishii gives a fuck because Ishii don't care about nothing.
Yeah, I don't think Ishii gives a fuck. I think Shingo does. I thought I heard like he's a huge, wrestling nerd. So shout out to Big Shingo.
Damn, I don't get to say nothing about Shingo.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, look, man. The best match 2019 was him and Ospreay in the Best Super Juniors final. It was incredible. I don't think I haven't gone back and watched it in years, but it was so mind melting. All the shit they did with the whole story of like these two, unbeatable forces, and like the way Shingo had basically cleared out the division, and Ospreay goes out there and takes him out. Has to hit him with the kitchen sink and then something to put him away. It was an amazing match. And like
it was so fast.
Is that Ospreay's best opponent still?
Yes,
I say so. Still, I mean, you got the two Omega matches. I would still say that Shingo's his best opponent.
Yeah, I think he's wrestled Shingo the most amount of times to the most amount of greatness. I think his peak match he probably had is with Kenny or Danielson, but this one here,
I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say.
Ospreay and Shingo is like every bit as legendary as Flair, Steamboat, any great rivalry you want to name. And Will's gonna walk in this motherfucker too the day he's eligible, which is not for like 5 more years or whatever. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Skip over Orndorff and long fight for Paul Orndorff. He did. He passed, I think, this past year, but people have been trying to get him in for a long time.
Yeah.
But the Young Bucks, man, Matt and Nick, these guys. When I think about the Young Bucks, there's never been a tag team that has meant more in the history of professional wrestling than the Young Bucks. Throw whoever else you want at me. How many of them are responsible for starting a major league promotion in the United States? How many of them revolutionized the independent scene? How many of them sold the amount of merch that they did, got in Hot Topic, went to All In, basically, and set up a 10,000 seat independent show, primarily on their backs? They were the gateway for a lot of people into watching New Japan Pro Wrestling. They were the cornerstones of the Bullet Club at a certain point. They had the insane match quality. But
Rich, they also gave Ring of Honor the opportunity to do what AEW did, but then they pussied out and then gave them the door to then run All In, which then led to AEW, and then now they're the bosses of the company that didn't want to run for them now. You ever talk about that?
It's amazing. They were the team that had people shaking in their boots, shitting down their legs, that people were being athletic in the ring and trying new things or whatever. They are, the creators of something like Being the Elite that got tons of people over, created a massive fan base. They are the team of this or any generation. They are the team that kicked the door down for Phil and Jack Bruce's locker room.
Look, I mean, in retrospect, they kicked down that door, and that was the last thing. That was the last bit of kicking that we heard they did. But look, they were like, the super kicks is real strong when it's a work. When it turns to a shoot, not so much. But yeah, man, like, I mean, they're well on their way to what? They're what tag team of the year award?
They're 8th, James.
Yeah,
they're 8th.
Yeah.
They were always walking in this Hall of Fame. It's shameful that people didn't put them in first ballot where they should have been. And what's even better this year, they get in and they don't need a single retired wrestler to vote for them at all. Haters, keep your votes. Don't need them. Shove them up your ass, Cornette. And Cornette adjacent motherfuckers, like, oh man, it's so dumb, like the way to deny these guys. I don't want to hear anything about the Uso brothers who fell off the ballot. This debate is ended again, James.
Ended again? I never know it restarted, but okay, yeah. I mean,
look, just slap a little more on top of it. But,
I mean, look, the Usos still got a shot to get in. They just gotta, get a match with the Young Bucks.
Yeah, but they have so many legendary rivalries, matches. They hit all three categories, I would say, at a 10 out of 10 rate. Historical significance, matches, and then business. All three of them.
Yeah.
Out of this world.
Yeah. I've said this for, a couple years now. Like, all the EVPs plus Moxley should be in the Observer Hall of Fame as soon as possible. Like, anything else, when they them not getting in last year was stupid. Moxley being where he is in percentage is mind-boggling. Cody's going to get in eventually. But Cody, because this is his first shot, but Cody should have been in the first ballot based off you include his AEW work, then what the hell are we doing? So, yeah, Young Bucks, not my favorite tag team of all time. That doesn't mean that I don't think they're not the greatest tag team of all time. They are. Because, I mean, proof's in the pudding, man. For all the stuff we heard about, how much old timers and everything it is like the Young Bucks and everything. I didn't hear people that, after Revolution this year. Did you?
You mean when Sting himself selected the Young Bucks to retire him?
Right. Not the motherfuckers cosplaying as Tully and Arm. No. Nope.
Look, and they cried about it too. I don't know if you remember that. But it's...
Were you expecting them to have that kind of match with Darby and Sting? Because I wasn't. And by them, I'm not talking about the Young Bucks, about FTR. FTR wasn't gonna be able to have that kind of match with Sting and Darby.
Yeah, man. It's amazing.
Because they're not the best performing tag team of all time. That's why, Rich. They could very well be the second, but they're not the one.
The Young Bucks cage match page is just filled with filth. Go see it, and how many above 8s there are in that, in tags.
Do you have to go to page number 2 to get to 7s?
Oh man, I guarantee you will get to 130 matches before you get to the 7th. If I had to guess. Just in whatever promotion, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, PWG, AEW, they just glide through. And, they've changed their style along the way a little bit. It's just I'm glad these guys got recognized for the all-timers they are. And, this is is kind of similar to when Kenny went to Hall of Fame for me, where it's are there any last words? Are the non-believers, y'all keep non-believing, but you got to look up at the scoreboard. You got to mention Hall of Famer with that. You got to disagree with that first. So, let's talk about some of the non-Hall of Famers. I guess we should start with CM Punk. Jumped from 44% to 52%. He's right on the edge, so he'll be a strong candidate going into next year. It looks like.
All he needs is to not get hurt, and he'll get in next year.
Not get hurt, not completely explode, not fight somebody.
Well, I mean, last chance you. There's nowhere else to go, so I don't expect no issues. There's only so long he can avoid not going to Saudi Arabia. He got to get his ass on that plane eventually.
Don't answer no political questions. All that stuff he got to zip up. If he can do all that and not give the urge to be himself, I think he'll get in this thing next year. But him, the crazy online CM Punk fans, they had to watch the Young Bucks go in this year, and I know that hurt. That hurt.
Got in less years. A lot less years.
And Roman, which, that relationship ain't, it's not squeaky clean. I know that.
Well, I mean, I've always said that's very similar to the Bret Hart and Hogan thing. Bret Hart should have, Roman Reigns and Bret Hart should have every reason to hate CM Punk and respectively CM Punk and Hulk Hogan. You made my job harder, you asshole.
Yeah, so they had to feel it. Cody Rhodes, 48.1%. I would think he'll be in next year too.
I think so too.
I think people just had reservations because it was the first year on the ballot and be like, all right, do we want to make him a first ballot Hall of Famer? And I don't think everyone wanted to do that.
Yeah, like is the last person who's the first ballot Hall of Famer was Okada last one?
I think so.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, obviously, if he had got in, he wouldn't have gotten like that kind of high percentage as like Okada was going to get going in. But I see why. I can see the reluctance or hand holding on it or whatever else. I think it's dumb, but I'm not mad at it because I know at this point I know like it's unless something tragic happens. Even if it's tragic, like don't vote him in for his tragedy. But like he's getting in. Like I think I'm at this point I'm confident Punk and Cody are getting in next year, barring something unforeseen happening.
We actually got updates on those Young Bucks stats. James, turns out I was 2 matches off. After 128 matches of the Young Bucks, you get into the sevens.
There you go.
So not 130. So FTR, you get into the sevens after 27. It looks like for a comparison. So no shade to FTR, but
and it is time for me to go on Cage Match to be messy. I'm still here.
Yep. I'll keep it riding. But Cody Rhodes, had 2 big major years. Look, Roman Reigns might have got a lot of the credit that this guy kind of
might
deserved.
have.
So
I mean, look, Sammy fell off the fucking ballot.
Yeah. That's kind of nasty. Yeah, like Sami Zayn couldn't get Trish's votes. He couldn't get Trish's votes, James.
Like, bro, Jey Uso, or let me phrase this: the Usos and Sammy fell off the ballot. The people that are literally there every week carrying this fucking bloodline feud on their backs while Roman's not there. Cody, who was the person that actually he had to hand the baton to, not in. Roman's in. Like, it's maybe those numbers change in time in retrospect, but it's like, what happened here? Like, this is the thing that is like this whole storyline is the thing that is carrying WWE like to this new boom period that they're having right now with attendance and everything. And only one person is getting the credit for it. Kevin Owens is no person that sacrificed. How many times we done seen them Samoa whoop Kevin Owens' ass in the last 3 years?
Yeah.
Another one off the ballot. That's interesting.
Look,
like,
maybe.
Obviously, I'm not expecting Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn to get in, given what most of their careers were like in WWE. Kevin obviously has a lot better case than Sami, given that Sami never got a title in WWE until like 2022 or something like that. But
they wasted a lot of their careers.
It's like people, only one person apparently getting the credit to the voters.
Yeah, I think that is something to take notice of. And then you got to remember, Sami and Kevin, they took a lot of bad booking and got a lot of their careers wasted. Like, and when I say their careers, their primes, their athletic primes, like just caught in nothing, essentially. They, looking at it, Mark and Jay Briscoe, 37%. I think they're going to have kind of a struggle as the years go on. It will be interesting when FTR goes on the ballot if those two teams either help each other or hurt each other. Like if people were like, we're voting for both of them, or they're picking between them. And if they start picking FTR over the Briscoes, I think a lot of people are going to get angry.
I mean, it's gonna be nasty either way. But what I will say is, those are two of the better tag teams, or two of the best tag teams I've ever seen in my life, like contemporary speaking. So whatever. I ain't got no argument one way or the other. Like, do I think they're Hall of Fame level talents in the ring? Yeah. Like, do I think because a lot of them did their work in like Ring of Honor and in NXT, and none of this happened, and none of this really happened on the main roster in WWE? Is that going to hurt them significantly? Yes. I think they're not getting in because they didn't do it in New York or Stanford, whatever you want to call it. Just like what happened with all these other guys that aren't getting in, like a lot of the Ring of Honor guys. So yeah.
Shout out to my man Volador Jr., 41% of the vote there for Mexico.
So who got in from Mexico? Like, how is that going to... Is there a chance he's actually going to get in, Volador?
Maybe. I think so. But, Los Hermanos Dinamita got in.
Yeah. So, Rich, remember I said I was going to be messy on Cage Match?
Yeah.
So, we were talking about FTR, right? So, Seth Rogen said that FTR, on their Cage Match, they get into the 7s after 27 matches.
Yeah.
You want to know how many matches you get? You want to guess how many matches before you get to the 7s on Mayu Iwatani?
96.
75.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
And she's never going to get on the ballot.
She might.
She's not.
She might, because Japan has cleared out this much. I think it might give her a chance.
Okay.
Maybe
she does sneak onto the ballot.
She'll get on the ballot.
She's dropping off the first second she gets on it.
No, I don't think you realize the way Japan is like rolling out and looking towards.
It's bummed out and depleted. I get it.
Like she will get above 10. Like it might take her a while
Where's
or
Mako?
whatever. I think she's like at 22%.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken on that. But I had that conversation talking about just like people that were just around, like, the Joshi thing. Like a lot of people were like, how come it's so hard for women to get in? It's like, well, most of the All Japan women from their prime that had retirement age stuff, they're already in, and then after that you're going into the mid carders. But it's like, what about like the women that were fucking incredible for 10 plus years and didn't have retirement ages, like post the boom period into the dead period, and it's like, all right, Arisa Nakajima,
right?
She ain't getting in. I don't think she's getting on the ballot.
She won't get on the ballot.
Good.
She won't get on the ballot. Mayu will.
Yeah. Okay. At this point, I'm just like, I gotta see it to believe it. But you're probably more accurate than I am on that. But I'm just so pessimistic on all that stuff. It's like some of these people are some of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in ring, and they ain't getting in, or they're not getting on the ballot. And I mean, it's the not everybody has access to all that stuff they did, but if you did, So, as far as the in-ring side, so yeah.
Randy Orton and Edge, brothers, kind of in this ballot, seemingly 29% for Orton, and Edge lost 3%, which is kind of crazy. He was 31 and then dropped to 28. Orton 31 and dropped to 29. I can't really speak for like Orton's output, and I think he returned last year at Survivor Series and has been a regular since then.
But he's been on a reduced schedule for a couple years now, and then he was gone with the back thing for a while.
Yeah. And then Copeland kind of did some of the best work he's probably ever done since he walked into AEW, and maybe people took it out on him. You left WWE, and they don't really care what he did in AEW. He didn't draw. Like we'll agree there if that's their logic. But
he didn't draw in WWE.
There you go.
Right.
So, him losing that, and then, we got to check on that 1550 thing. I'm still unclear on how that whole thing works. But yeah. John Moxley, 26.3%. I think this is a travesty. And I just don't know why people don't understand it with him in a way that they would for someone like Cody, who got 48%. If I'm looking at Moxley and Cody as candidates, one of these guys has won Wrestler of the Year twice.
For Rich.
One of them has been pushed as a world champion in various forms of companies since 2016.
Right.
One of them was over, let's see how many times Dean Ambrose, John Moxley got over. Shield.
Right.
Single act.
2014. Yep.
Champion.
2016. Yep.
Got over again as soon as he leaves WWE.
Forget that part.
New Japan.
Him tagging with Seth Rollins redeemed him as a babyface in 2017.
Yep. 2017. Okay. Yep. I don't think they really do anything with him after that. That's notable.
Hey, Rich, it's funny, right? We were just talking about like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and the Usos as far as like helping out for Roman Reigns' like career.
How much did this guy help?
They were putting Roman Reigns with Dean Ambrose all the goddamn time to keep him afloat when it wasn't working as a babyface in the mid 2010s. Every single time. He ain't getting no credit for none of that right now.
None. Jumping, to New Japan Pro Wrestling and then jumping to AEW. You would think this is like one of the most important things a wrestler could do for their historical significance case. You would think.
Yeah.
Are people pissed that he left WWE? I can't rule it out,
Do people just think he's a garbage wrestler?
That's what I think. They don't realize.
What I mean by this. Do people all just think like, oh, he's like 90s funk and that's it?
Right. Like they don't realize this is a work rate candidate too. And we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. This is a work rate candidate. This is a historical significance candidate. Business. I can't really like make the strongest argument, but this guy's not a complete flop. Business wise, I'm sure you can pull up years where he was like the Iron Man, hitting every town and main eventing, to a certain level in WWE. We saw who they turned to in a lot of cases in AEW, and we've seen Japan strap this guy up.
Yep.
So
he's the only I think you said it the trivia thing a couple weeks ago. Like he's the only person to ever be WWE, IWGP, and AEW World Champion.
Yep. Not Cody Rhodes. Back to bring it full circle. Not Cody Rhodes.
Right.
We had the opportunity. The only other guy that had the opportunity to do that, pretty much, besides maybe Jericho, and they weren't going to strap Jericho up in New Japan. So, like, what is it that's given him 26%? Because if this is the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame, I can look at a 2-time Wrestler of the Year award winner that makes him just like Chris Jericho. I believe Jericho has 3, if I'm not mistaken. There are people that do not, because Kazuchika Okada does not have 2 of these, James.
Right.
Kenny Omega doesn't have 2 of these.
Right.
Actually, I think he might.
Well,
he does. Sorry.
Okay. I'm guessing he got it for 01 or 21, and he also got it for like 2017.
2018.
18. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. This is pretty embarrassing, honestly. And I know people want to be like, I don't want to think about him. Like, why not? Like we're talking about this guy that's been around as a major leaguer for 12 years at this point. Yeah. This is not somebody coming on the ballot in the middle, like next year, for example. Drew McIntyre is coming on the ballot next year, right? This is not a guy that has really only had 4 or 5 years of success, like a Drew McIntyre.
Right.
Maybe even smaller period than that when you think about how much of his career was a failure before he figured it out from ages, 36 and beyond. Mm-hmm. This guy has been over since he's been 27 years old, James.
Yep.
What are they missing?
I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to just like they think it's a Terry Funk routine. Maybe I like it can't just all be he left WWE so fuck him, because like that can't be the case. But it has to be that plus things that like maybe it's a Terry Funk thing, or it's the garbage wrestling, quote unquote, and it's some other stuff that we're just not accounting for. I don't know.
Yeah. Not my favorite wrestler or anything, but it's definitely Sir Sam's favorite wrestler. So I think, Sam, you might want to start getting to work and telling people what they're missing. Sir Sam also says he thinks there are some that don't like AEW, period. The Bucks being second, going in, their second year says a lot. I can't discount that, but
but the thing for me would be like, if you were someone if you're voting for the Young Bucks, and while you know what they're dealing with as far as the negative criticism or disliking, or people will not vote for them based off of their style and also what they embody to AEW. If you were watching AEW as a quote unquote AEW hater, if you're watching it for anybody, is like people like Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho. They'd be like, these are the people that, in CM Punk, they'd be like, these are people that really know how to work there because they're from New York and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's not necessarily, it doesn't seem like that's rubbing off on them
Yeah, I don't think Moxley's getting that because, Moxley's like you can look at it, he's the first guy to really jump, to leave in the middle of his prime. And it's like you jumped it all off. And you ruined your career. You could be here with Roman, and there's nastiness going on with this. I feel it.
There's definitely a way this is kosher because it don't make no sense. He's been too good. He's been too good the last 5 years. Like we're at a point now where there's been a half a decade of him being one of the last half decade. There's no way he's not been a top 10 wrestler in the world. Like you throw in like the PWI kayfabe side of it, you throw in the match quality, you throw in like the accolades.
What am I missing? I don't know what I'm missing here.
There's been 10 wrestlers like more that have that kind of PWI and match guy combination in the last 5 years. There's no way.
Look, and the Observer Awards to go with it.
Yeah. And we're talking about the Observer Hall of Fame, which is why this is dumb. Right? Like, I'm not going to have to argue and scream Tom Poon in the face about like in 2-3 years about whether or not JJ Watt's going to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He won 3 Defensive Player of the Years in 4 years. He's getting in the first ballot. I don't have to worry about it with Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. It's just weird.
Yeah. I think it's a perfect time to talk about this guy. So, definitely this is going to be a clip for sure. I think more people should start raising hell kind of on this one because 26% is embarrassing. Like there's a mental block, I think, going on with him. And
also another part that's weird about it is like, if I remember year to year voting on it, like he went up this year and this is like the worst year he's had in this 5-year run post WWE.
Yes, he was 13% last year, James, which is even more embarrassing.
He more than doubled his percentage when it's like, this is the worst year he's had in the last 5 years. Have people just not been paying attention?
Yeah, obviously. I guess not. Point. Yeah. Huh. Bill Goldberg, stuck at 24% yet again. I think his case is dying. He's allegedly going to do a retirement match next year. We'll see how that does, if that gives him some kind of bump. But
Gunther with him to 5 stars and get him in there, huh?
That'd be funny.
5-star Goldberg match in his 50s.
What would that look like?
Wait, how old is Goldberg? 50 what? Late 50s?
Goldberg gotta be late 50s.
Bro, ain't no fucking way.
Let's see. He was like 31 and like 97.
5-star. First off, ain't no fucking way.
He's like 55, maybe 56.
Will Ospreay 2019 Will Ospreay couldn't get a 5-star match at Goldberg right now. Ain't no way. But let's just go with this nonsense and pretend that can happen, right?
Uh-huh.
You got to put Gunther in immediately, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. When does he go on the ballot? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'll vote for him. First ballot.
But back to Goldberg. Yeah, man. You might have a point about the thing. I think he's gonna be one of those dudes that ends up sliding to historical.
Like, yeah. It's interesting. Hall and Nash, only 21%.
Never getting in.
Don't think they'll ever get in.
Nope. Never getting in.
Zack Sabre Jr., only 16%. That's an interesting one. Finally wins the IWGP title, maybe like just before the Hall of Fame voting season, or maybe it had already started. We already know this guy should be a work rate candidate. Yep. He is in Japan. Yep. Maybe he has a chance to rise. Depends how the rest of this title reign goes.
We'll see how this dome match goes.
We'll see how that goes. We'll start there. But he has a lot. This is, I don't know about the historical significance, and the business argument is non-existent.
It's non-existent.
So he's a strictly a work rate candidate, yep. And his work is polarizing.
Yep.
But you look at Zack Sabre Jr.'s cage match page, and you start telling me when the 7s come in.
Oh, hold on. I haven't even thought about that one before, but I guarantee you there's no way he's not in the hundreds.
I would say there is like not only is there a lot of them, there are a lot of like quality ones, but like this guy wrestles like a consistent like schedule where he gets a lot of at bats. Yeah. Like it's not like he's doing 58 matches in a year. It's not like he's doing 60 matches. He's doing like 120 matches. So Seth Rogen mentioned that, with the thinning out of Japan, he might get in through attrition. Yeah, I'm not writing him off this early, essentially, with that 16%.
Rich.
Yeah.
All right. He doesn't get to a 7 until 176.
I guarantee that's better than the likes of a Kenny Omega.
I think it's better than Okada too.
Yeah. Like this is a guy like he does not get seen in the same light as Ospreay, Omega, Ishii.
Well, to be fair, at the highest of high levels,
he's not.
But he's kind of like Ishii, where it's like
he stacks them up.
He stacks up 4-star matches as well as anyone that's ever existed. Depending on taste, of course, when it comes to him.
Yeah, Kenny's at 123. So, what was Saber 126?
No, 176.
No, 176. Yeah, okay.
That's nuts.
That's what I meant about Saber getting those at bats. Like you look at, I want to say that 2018 year, I think Kenny only did 55 matches. Right. So, like, in Zach's case, is it to where his style has allowed him to stack on these quality years with the quantity of matches? So he's gonna. I think when people start pulling these things up, we're gonna be like, all right, man, there's way too many fucking matches on this thing.
Right.
Ishii at 152.
You know what he is? He's like how we talked about Kareem. Like everybody out here in the 70s was out here on drugs, and Kareem's out here doing yoga. Right? Like everybody's out here to get their 4 stars. They're doing all types of crazy shit, getting dropped on their neck, hitting each other hard as fuck. And don't be wrong, Saber does some of that, but Saber can do his match, 5 days a week if he needed to for a stretch. Mm-hmm. Because it ain't that damaging. He's figured it out. He's smarter than everybody. So back to Okada. Okada gets to a 7 on Cage Match at 149.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is an elite metric that has been developed on this show here.
It's just anecdotal because it's like
I know it don't mean nothing. Look, it don't mean nothing, right. but it tells you something.
It does. Like, it does. You're like, hey man, if you have 108, you a bad motherfucker, straight up.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't give a damn about your taste or what you have for somebody. If they have by these groups of if hundreds of people come in and vote on matches. And they give you 8s, and there's been 100 matches to tabulate where you get 8s, you a bad motherfucker. Or you probably should just be Observer Hall of Famer without even thinking about it. As far as the whole, did they draw, did they not draw? It's like, hey man, I don't give a damn if they didn't draw. They one of the coolest motherfuckers that ever existed in the pro wrestling ring, so why are they not in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame?
Tetsuya Naito, 86.
So Saber's almost 100, almost got him by 100?
Shingo, 120.
Is this the part where we start bearing Naito as not one of the elite in the elite era of New Japan Pro Wrestling? Are we doing this segment again?
Man.
Am I gonna have to pull up?
It's just interesting, man. It's just interesting, man. Like,
if I'm gonna have to pull to the cage match and be like, hey man, do you know that statistically speaking, like as far as 8s and above matches, Tetsuya Naito is closer to Sonata than he is to Zack Sabre Jr. Am I gonna have to do that?
Sick.
Oh. Is that on here right now? Listen to this.
John Moxley has 90.
And Naito has how many?
86. John Moxley's a Hall of Famer, man.
Rich, do you think it was harder to have great matches in mid-2010s WWE than mid-2010s New Japan Pro Wrestling? Because I think it was harder.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of years in WWE style. A lot of them.
Average straight-to-play wrestling is real. All right, let's see.
Can I get Seth Rollins' number one time for the system? Can we pull that up, chat?
I guess I'll pull that. Cause I
would love to know.
Seth has some Ring of Honor on him, so he's going to be better than you think it is.
I would love to know. I'm seeing Seth Rollins, my God, in the comment section right now. 66.
Yeah.
This is not a great worker.
This is not a great worker. 66 aces. You are a great worker. I'm sorry. You be an asshole.
Okay. This
he's not the greatest worker, but he is a great worker.
He's not like the niggas they think he's like.
Agreed. We've been talking about that ever since he blew me out. But yeah.
Roman Reigns 34. Yikes.
Yeah.
What an amazing stat.
It's amazing. It's amazing how far Aura will take you, right?
Yeah.
Subjective Aura. Brewhaven says Seth is not elite. No one said he's elite. Look, he don't want to be elite. He is hugging that W and that E. He ain't never going over there, no matter how bad they mistreat him.
Yeah, man. So I think that's a good place to leave the Observer Hall of Fame talk for this year. If nothing else, gives us some segments that we normally wouldn't have.
Congrats to the inductees, and I'm glad you're in so that we can get you out the way to make more space for people that have cases that for some reason these voters are not listening to. So now that they got their Roman votes out the way, we can get Cody in CM Punk in next year, and then we can see about go back and circle back on Moxley, because this don't make no sense to me, bro.
Yeah, JYD, let's get him in so I can do the rant, you know. Yeah, but we definitely got to start talking about Jon Moxley and Zack Sabre Jr. We got to, because nah, man, that's you know, it ain't right. It ain't right.
We have come full circle. We are advocating for Zack Sabre Jr. to be the Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer. If you had told us we would have been saying this in 2018 or 19, we would not believed it.
Yeah, Sir Sam says most important thing is getting One Nation Radio a vote in this thing. We've been talking about it forever. Yes, I would love to eventually receive a Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame ballot. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I just think we've done a lot of quality work over the 12 years, especially covering this institution also year after year. You know, if it happens, you know, cool. If it doesn't, you know, whatever. But let's talk about AEW Full Gear. Like I said, I don't feel like reviewing the show. Just, you know, a lot of stuff happened, you know, whatever. But let's talk about these matches, man. Okay. We got to start on the pre-show, unfortunately.
Do we? What's on the pre-show?
We actually had a question that goes along with this from Blue Sky. Pulling this up right now. So on Blue Sky, comes from cfetback.bskysocial. Caitlin, she says, how do you think Big AJ is going to respond on Dynamite to QT's diss track? Okay. Big Boom AJ with Big Justice versus QT Marshall on the pre-show. Okay. Forgive me. Maybe it's for a demo that I am not tapped into. I hear this is a TikTok sensation person. I checked on Twitter. He only had 21,000 followers. So I was kind of confused. I had to look into it. Apparently this thing's legit. And this guy, Big Boom AJ, was a former independent wrestler back in the day. I've actually saw one of the promos he cut, and it's very wrestling. Like, it's wrestling. Like, and it was actually a decent promo. As far as what he's going to do in the ring, I have no idea. QT Marshall getting this, you know, there was a couple stories that broke with this thing through SRS, saying this whole thing was originally pitched as a feud that would not touch Dynamite or Collision, but somehow has made its way onto Dynamite because of the work from Big Boom AJ has been so well received, like the promotional work, that they're going to get a chance to do something. QT Marshall dropped a rap song that sounded like some not as good, like Tone Loc style rap. And I was listening to it, and I was like, we got to turn the mics off. We got to make the recording equipment more expensive. We got to make the studio time expensive. We gotta go back to the old days, man. We gotta shut the computers down. We gotta take this back away from Pro Tools and take it back to reel to reel, make it real difficult to record. This comes on the back of Ethan Page doing a rap song, Trick Williams doing rap songs to diss people, and this is the recent bunch. Of course, there's always Max Caster, who is, liable to go off the deep end at any time. He's done some of these video disses. I think his video disses have been a lot stronger than all of these most recent ones. And he's actually a rapper, so it kind of feels more natural for him. And it seems like other people are trying it on and kind of embarrassing themselves and the culture of rap. And quite frankly, I'm offended by a lot of it. And I think that this was meant to be fun, so I don't want to get too upset about it or whatever. Like, he clearly wasn't taking himself seriously or anything, but, I kind of don't take kindly to playing with hip hop like that, because hip hop has been played with so much, and there are people who are like, whatever, rap is rap, but the attitude of whatever and everything's okay has allowed rap to become what it is in 2024, is split up and is, kind of just anyone can do this. And I'm sorry, it takes someone with talent to do something, in my eyes, at least. And they're going to have a match on the pre-show.
Why did they bring QT Marshall back?
That's an interesting point you're making, James. They haven't even brought him back, James. He has not reappeared on television yet, but he just was we're like, yeah, QT Marshall's here, but he has not re-debuted. We know he re-signed. He is I don't know how to. I don't think this should be okay. I have no problem with the Big Boom AJ guy. Positive energy, promotes. He's doing his thing, whatever. And we clearly see what this is, as far as being a viral play, a play for, some social media attention and, stuff like that. They're in New Jersey. They're going to be having a match. That's, kind of where he's from. And I understand it. I actually think there's a lot more integrity behind this than Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. But
well, I mean, one is a exhibition and the other one is a work. So yeah, sure.
Yeah. But, I don't want to see this. If you ask Rich Ladd, do I want to watch this? No.
I'm not watching this shit. I don't give a fuck. I do not care. I mean, it stinks that, this could have went to somebody else that could have gotten the crowd hyped as opposed to some nonsense or whatever else. And anything that has QT Marshall's involvement, I'm not clicking on it. I don't care. He lost that right for me to give a fuck when he did quality TV at the end of his run with Hobbs. I was done. Him coming back, whatever else, man, I don't have the time for it. Hopefully he doesn't come back on AEW and waste more people's time. Because the roster's too low to be wasting time with QT Marshall. I don't give a damn if it's to be a heater, to get somebody to be a manager, take bunch of people. They tried that shit with Hobbs and it stunk, and Hobbs had to move around. And then, unfortunately he had an injury, but you're doing better without him. So, whatever, man. Whatever.
No.
What I will say is this. When QT Marshall was out here at first, there was one person on One Nation Radio that was out here enabling that shit and being the irony of it was so funny that I'm pretending to like something that I know is terrible to troll my friend and I find it amusing. And now them chickens are coming on the roost. Now he's inescapably bad. You can't even joke that be like, I like him because he sucks. Nah, man, he sucks and he wastes people's time. And
he used to be elevated. He used to be getting elevated,
he used
but
to be getting elevated.
This ain't the same,
Bro, he might have, not might have, he has some of the worst, like who has a worse batting average in AEW that besides like Brady Rhodes?
Trying to think.
He way down there.
Yeah.
He way down there. Remember when he was out here trying to date the bunny while the bunny was obviously on TV, still married in kayfabe and also in real life to the Blade? Remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Remember when he turned on Cody Rhodes?
I like that.
That's because you hate Cody. That's not the same thing whether it was
Just got to throw it in there real monotone. I like that. So MJF versus Roderick Strong. If I know anything about MJF, he's going to be pushing for this to go on to open the show. MJF versus Roderick Strong, singles match. Glad to see it. I kind of got, I was privy to this becoming a thing via, actually, I'm not going to display the, but them boys spilled some lean. If y'all know who we talking about, had this one quite a while ago. Give me this instead of MJF versus Adam Cole. And I don't know. I'm not into the whole undisputed thing still. But Roderick Strong's not going to come out here and pay-per-view and let you drag him down, I don't think.
I mean, until
very bad build
until the run-in start.
Yeah, there's bullshit alert. Kind of
like there's the gigantic dude with the dreads that can run in and be the new heater for him. There's also Adam Cole who's due to get involved somehow, and he's probably gonna be some mishap. It's gonna lead to some argument between fucking Adam Cole and Roderick Strong potentially. Kyle O'Reilly got drug into this recently. I hate it, man. I hate it. I hate it and I might say I hate it for Roddy because all Roddy want to do is go out there and work hard to have a good ass match. But there's this fucking guy that wants to just not. He wants wrestling to be more than what it is. He just wants wrestling to be more than what it is. And man, like I don't know how long that contract is, but I need him to take his ass to WWE. I know we talked about that before. He re-signed. I'm sorry. I'm allowing myself to double down. I don't think that he is going to right himself and figure out that we don't want to see that shit. He thinks this is what people want to see. And he's partially right because those angles with Cole last summer did numbers. The problem is once the matches happen and the bullshit start, you get shit like what happened to World's End last year.
World's End, Full Gear.
Full Gear as well.
This is a return to scene of crime.
I actually meant Full Gear with Jay White more than that.
Yes.
Actually. So
yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, the next match, I'm gonna pick MJF because why would I pick MJF to lose?
Right.
Jay White versus
he's probably the one to say, hey, let's do the Roddy's match first so that I can get this W.
Yeah.
Also of note, I don't know how much they played on the part where like a year ago. I don't think they even have because I think they're just trying to erase what happened a year ago. But remember, like Roddy was he was jealous of MJF, and MJF kept hoeing him on the mic every single week.
Yep.
Have they brought that up at all? I don't think they have.
I don't think that's been a beat of this thing. This has been more about Adam Cole flopping every week in the ring, and then Roddy just getting his win too over on Collision. Up next, Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page. So I'm not really into this feud. I think the dynamic for this is still all wrong. I would prefer to see these guys reversed because whenever I hear that Jay White music, I assume a fuck nigga's coming out just on the history of everything back to 2018. He got to change the music or something or he did change the music, but he did come out with that Jay White music, that New Japan music. And it's like, bro, somebody's evil that's coming in, that is coming here to have, a 4-star match when everybody else is having 5-star matches. Like, at the top of the show.
Everybody else having 5-star matches.
Yeah, Okada's out here. What the fuck? Like, Kenny's out here. Who else? Ishii's out here.
I don't recall Dominion 2018 being dime a dozen, but okay, if you say so.
I mean, Dominion 18. All right, pull up Dominion 2018. See where Jay White was on the card. That was right where he belonged. While Dragon Lee and Will was going crazy.
Oh man.
But yeah, Jay White and Hangman Page. Jay White's the good guy. Hangman Page is the bad guy. Now tell me, James, Hangman Page has the leg injury.
Yep.
He is outnumbered.
Yep.
3-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 3-1.
This is weird.
It's very weird. And also, Jay White got the win at the last pay-per-view.
Look,
like,
somebody got to tell me what I'm missing here.
Like, if Adam Page has no reason to not win this match.
I think he should have won the last one,
Well, I think they gave Jay White the win to continue this so that Adam Page can get his win back here, and they can do a possible third match on TV or something like that.
They should just be in the same C2 block and then forget this.
That might be what they do, is like they have the match where Cole, I keep doing Adam Page, and now I sound like that fucking Revolution 2022 crowd. But like, I think what's gonna happen is like that's the rubber match is at the C2. It's probably a block final or something.
Interesting. As far as this match, these guys, they do have good chemistry, but it never like goes to the top level. I think people really receive their match at Wrestle Dream quite well.
Mm-hmm. They're a good fit for each other as far as like their style. Like, I mean, as far as what like you tell me Jay White, Adam Page, I can see there's a lots of pathways to great matches there between those two.
Yeah. Let's open up the offense, White. You babyface. Let's do some crowd pleasing things, like jumping off the top rope. Let's get vertical. Let's move side to side. Athletic. And
there's something so fun about those babyface counter wrestlers.
Yeah. Fuck.
Like Swerve. Like, is Swerve the only one that's really good at this?
Might have a point there. So we got 4-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Rare pay-per-view with no Young Bucks. We've got Private Party versus the Outrunners versus Kings of the Black Throne, which are Malachi Black and Brody King, and the Acclaimed, who are possibly headed towards a split. Maybe. I don't know. This is a first defense for a new champion you really don't have anything for. So you put like a 4-way match together. I think the Outrunners are getting pinned, and Private Party is kind of in their home area, so maybe they will not get upset. I know Malachi Black's not losing. Brody King's not losing either. And I feel like they're doing an angle with the Acclaimed. So all in all, Private Party retains quite easy. If it was me, I would probably beat one of the Acclaimed if you're breaking the group up anyway.
That's why I said it like that. You have Caster take the pin. You have him. He got the card from Hurt Syndicate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be simple. It can be simple.
It's interesting though that as you mentioned that, because I actually saw something I was thinking myself on Twitter. It was like, I forgot who said this, so can't properly give him credit, but Luger Tatanka with this thing. If you're not familiar, SummerSlam 94, the whole thing was Lex Luger versus Tatanka, and the whole thing was Lex or Tatanka saying, "You're about to turn on me," and they were friends. right? You're about to turn on me and you're about to join the $1 Million Man. And the whole time it was like accusing Lex of being about to turn, but the whole time Tatanka was actually the one that was going to turn. So you could fuck around and see Bowens actually be the one to make the switch.
But you know what the problem with that is? Everyone likes Bowens, and so many less people like Caster. They will hate the casting of that if they turn Bowens heel and make they turn Bowens heel and make Caster the hero. People would not like that.
Yeah, I think Max Caster he's got issues right now as far as like just because like if he's a singles wrestler, right, he's gonna get time. I don't think either one of them are really singles wrestlers. You know,
I think that Bowens is a really good tag wrestler. And you put him in singles and say you got to do promos and programs, and it's not going to work to like where you think it is. Like, think about what we have in the AEW roster right now that are kind of floundering as singles wrestlers. Sammy Guevara,
like, where are you going to get in?
Like, is Bowens a better like complete package than those two? I don't think so.
Like, I think a lot of people go up for Anthony Bowens and swear they want the Anthony Bowens singles run,
because they hate Caster. He's the anti-Caster.
Like, they don't think about where he's actually going to land, like in the hierarchy of things. It's like, all right, if we have to, like, we have Will Ospreay here, we have Swerve here, we have Okada, we have Mao Safi, we have Heyman Page, Jay White, put
him in conglomeration. Fuck it,
John Moxley. He like, he could easily slide in, conglomeration. Orange Cassidy. So like, I just don't see the opening for him now. Could you do something where you test him and like give him a C2 spot? Maybe,
I mean, that would work because he could be the person that eats pins.
Right.
He gets like one or two wins at the, after being immediately eliminated. That would work.
So maybe that's what you do with him. But yeah, Private Party wins. Singles match, TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander. And I cannot wait for these two to actually get in the ring because I think all of these angles have died a death. And this feud has been mid-card as hell. And I actually trust these people to wrestle a lot more than make TV.
I'm going to say something, and
hot take. Statlander needs to win. It's time. It's time to beat Mercedes.
I have something different to say that might be more controversial. Rich, what is your favorite television program on the main roster, or since the main roster debut of Mercedes / Sasha Banks? What is your favorite one?
Her and Willow.
Okay. What's your second one? Because I do think Willow in Mercedes would be number one for me too.
I'm searching through the notes,
because the Charlotte and Sasha stuff was not good. It was just matches. When they had matches, it went off, but the program, it wasn't no Becky and Charlotte from 2018. Right? Oh, actually, I got one for you. It's actually, you know what the answer actually is? It's Becky and Sasha from 2020. Or whenever they had whenever they had Hell in a Cell. Or 19, I think. 19.
Okay.
That's actually what it is. That's actually what it is. That's actually her best television program.
So I thought you meant just AEW. If we're talking about
I'm in her whole career. I'm in her whole career.
Oh, wow.
I'm in her whole career barring NXT.
Yeah, it ain't like she was ever booked, all that great. We know that Bianca program was terrible.
Right. I think the thing is, like, I don't know if people are realizing it or whatever else, but it's like, for whatever reason, the character, her promo ability, her imagination, it's very flat. Like as far as how she dresses, how she dresses is far more vibrant than like her actual like substance as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And she dressed like a star. She looked like a star. She carries herself like a star. All that's true. She wrestles like a star, right? But as far as the application of getting into a program with somebody to then, move people, it ain't really been there her whole career. And the closest thing you really have to it is like
I think you got the first half.
The horsewomen.
I was gonna say the first half of the Britt Baker feud I thought was really good. Like every angle they did, was working, and then the match flopped.
I was so checked out on like this match ain't gonna work that maybe in retrospect, maybe I'll go back and listen to the podcast and probably like some of that stuff. But I was like, at the same time, I was like, I'm warning that match ain't gonna match, and once that match ain't gonna match, I'm gonna be like, why did we do this? So it's just. Look, whatever. They're going to save it in the ring because it's Statlander and it's Mercedes.
Yeah. And I'll go more into why I think, Statlander should pick the belt up here. She has been kind of in character hell. And if you beat her here, after doing the turn with her, and she ended up beating Willow and all that, right. And flipping her. And I'm like, if you beat her here, I think she's just completely cooked. And also...
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say also, Mercedes has had this belt also for, I don't know, since Double or Nothing or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think you can get it off her now. I think you can get it off her now because, she's not, making a noticeable difference in the quarter hours to where you have to just keep her strapped up at all costs. You could easily open her up to go after the world title, right. in the summer or whatever. And it's how long are you going to keep this one on her? So right. I think this would be a perfect time to implode Mercedes and Camille. Finally, have Mercedes lose the belt. She can beat Camille in the aftermath of this, and then get wherever she's headed after that, and basically walk into the post-Australia women's world title picture because no one's beating Mariah May until Toni Storm comes back.
Yeah,
and maybe she fights Toni Storm down the line for the belt.
I think that's the big money match that's actually left on the table for the AEW Women's Division right now. Is Toni Storm whenever she comes back versus Mercedes at some point. Now, you mentioned the character hell that Statlander's in, and it's I'm still trying to track whatever their long-term plan was between Statlander, Stokely, Willow, and Mercedes, and how they all broke up, how that led to the best women's match of the year in AEW between Willow and Stat. Stat comes out on top as the heel with the manager, the heel manager. They break that up. Statlander is a babyface again, just to basically seemingly just to have someone for Mercedes to face. It's almost like Mercedes said, "Who do you offer me? No, give me Statlander. Turn her babyface. I don't give a shit." Or somebody said that because it makes no sense why they turned her. And then, not actually include Stokely in any of this, really. It seems like they had a plan. They scrapped the plan. Am I wrong here?
I couldn't tell you on this one.
No, what I'm saying, just forget what you may or may not have heard or know. Just watching the television, it seems
I heard there was clearly
a plan, and then they said it all of a sudden at some point in the last 2 months, fuck that plan, we're doing something else.
It wouldn't be the first time some Stokely act has been just had a plug pulled on it. Yeah. Just pointing out what's happened on screen. I just don't know, you know.
So, and Statlander, she's facing Sheeta on tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Singles match, Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley. Now, Bobby Lashley is an interesting wrestler in a lot of different aspects. He's one of the rare big men who's all his best matches, typically that you think of from him and his best performances, they come against other big men. From that perspective, this is a completely different opportunity for him, I think, to have a great match with a smaller guy per se. Him and Swerve are height wise not too different, and Swerve's a lot bigger, but obviously Lashley's he's a freak of nature essentially. So this is interesting because they've left Swerve land a couple weeks in a row. Bobby is, been putting them in that damn, the hurt lock and all that. There's a shoulder issue for Swerve, and Bobby's first match in the company. Normally, you want someone to come in with, their debut. You give them a win. Swerve picked up a couple wins. He beat Leo Rush in a good match. Beat Shelton Benjamin.
I thought that match was more than just good.
I mean, that opening sequence, I was going off the walls when I saw what they were doing. I'm kind of torn on which way this one should go. Like, if Swerve wins, it's over, kind of, you would think. But Lashley, does he need to cheat? Does he need to go over strong? That's why I'm not the booker.
I think Lashley's winning. I think that the numbers advantage is going to catch up to Swerve, and he just can't do nothing with it. But
yeah, I ain't going out there to even the odds on this one.
Yeah. And look, I ain't going out there with you to help further even the odds, because like as you said, like Bobby Lashley does his best work normally with people his size, and you ain't sending my 270-pound ass out there with you. Nope. I'm not getting in the ring, Bobby Lashley. I refuse. Absolutely not. Sorry, Swerve. Sorry, Rich. You on your own.
People talking about they believe in me. Don't believe in me. Not that much.
Yeah, I remember. Like, look, Rich just started back in his martial arts journey. Bobby Lashley been in that cage.
He been in that dojo. Yeah,
he been in that cage.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't go in that ring with a gun. Like I wonder if
you're like, hey man, you better make sure if you go in there with
Bobby Lashley.
You better make sure if you go in there with a gun with Bobby Lashley is a revolver, make sure the shit don't jam.
Yes.
I'm putting this hot shit through you, bro. You're not playing.
Face Bobby Lashley with a gun or else. I'm like, I'll go anywhere else.
Imagine somebody's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot Bobby Lashley. It'd be like, yeah, give me a gun. Somebody hand him a high point. Like, bro, you can't put on a high point. Them cheap ass guns will jam.
You're shooting with that shit that bullet bounce off him. Like
you Superman. Oh shit. All right, man. But yeah,
I've liked this feud a whole lot.
Yeah,
it does feel like Swerve does need some assistance though. Maybe EJ Naduka gets into this. There's Lee Johnson there. There's I'm interested in this match. I think it's going to be like, for losing the championship in Swerve and finding something interesting for him. I think they've done that.
Yeah.
And this. But
that's true. But that was also going back to even the Hangman shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's been very well taken care of. And I would say losing the championship, which you can't always say, I don't think.
Yeah. That's true.
And, for him to not end up taking like 6 months off, like after dropping a championship or something like that, where he's back in essentially like 45 days, something like that.
You mean like Brett after WrestleMania 12?
Yeah, Brett, Kenny Omega, MJF, Samoa Joe. Like,
damn, I didn't even think of it. It's everybody for AEW, Bret Hart. They like, all right, I'm going. You want me to lose, Vince? You want me to lose, Tony? Okay, I'm going off TV, and I want the ratings to reflect that I'm off TV, so I can say, all right, let's see how the kid does with the belt now. Oh man, everybody petty assholes.
Look, Danielson. Danielson gone.
Look, now you said that Swerve was going 45 days, right?
I would have to guess. I know he was out like a month, essentially.
You can't even say that because he went immediately to the Hangman shit.
Right.
He did that, and then he was off after that.
Right. So I don't know, man. I think the guy's pretty valuable. So
it's crazy about a good work you can do. You're not out there for self like that. It's
amazing. But him versus Bobby, I think I'm gonna take Lashley on this one. Lashley. That's what I'm picking on this one.
Have we gotten a picture of those two together?
they should have like walked by each other in the hallway or something. Like,
Yeah.
I know he has a card.
Now I know people like to not, I like people don't like the WWE lore stuff, but nah, man, this for the interneters, this for us.
Yeah.
We had to watch that bad wrestling era of WWE with Vince at the end of his the worst of his booking abilities. There were a few drops of gold. Well, that sounds crazy. Drops of gold. There were a few nuggets of gold in that era, and that was one of them.
Yeah. So like this axis kind of around Swerve, I think is set to get very interesting. There's a couple big matches I think that are on the way. That have, everybody's kind of circling right now. So let's see where it takes us. Singles match for the TNT Championship: Jack Perry versus Daniel Garcia. This has been an awesome feud. These are like when I start thinking about the young guys, and stage in their career fighting for a mid-card championship. They're both getting over more by the week or whatever. These guys feel like natural opponents, and like they are opposed to each other in a way where it's like, oh, they feel like complete opposites, and it's kind of compelling to see. And then the whole thing with Jack Perry was like, yeah, they used to dance for me too or whatever. Like that shit was like, it was like he was hurt by this shit kind of still, but he was still being an asshole too. Last week, he tied this nigga to a bus.
I saw that. And then drove that man off on some attitude era shit. Yeah.
Bro, they wilding out there.
Look,
so,
man, look.
They're switching the belt here.
I'm only thing that would have made it more perfect is he had made if Jack Perry while hung up had made another joke about like he don't care about these rental vans, these rental cars. They made another CM Punk dig. That only would have been better.
But yeah, I think this is gonna be an excellent match. I think Garcia's gonna win the championship. It's about time he got strapped up, and Perry's kind of done.
Where are they? Are they in Nassau?
They're in Newark.
Yeah, tri-state area. Yeah. That'll work.
So Perry's kind of done all he can do with that belt right now. He has a big match against Yota Tsuji at Wrestle Dynasty. It kind of makes it easier without
and also, they gotta complete the sweep of getting all of the Elite off of TV.
Maybe one of these guys. If they go into C2, we know Garcia was in it last year. I could stand to see Perry in there and be like, "Hey, it's a tournament. Go crazy." So, singles match: Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Quietly, one of the stronger feuds of the year, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's a great dynamic behind this, and obviously these guys wrestled each other before, and it was fucking excellent. I was ringside and saw it.
That was in Duluth, wasn't it?
It was.
Huh. Okay.
And I was fortunate enough to talk to Will Ospreay like 15 minutes after the match.
Was that right after Evolution?
Yes.
Like the week, like the 3 days after, 4 days after?
Yes. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. So they had another great talking segment with each other, and Will was just, cutting them up essentially. Yep. And it was just like, I don't want to hear anything about how this guy shouldn't be pushed, or it's not. We shouldn't go with him for whatever reason, or he's jumping the line, or
who says that?
They're out there.
Are there anybody with opinions you respect?
There are.
Huh.
So like, I think Fletcher's awesome for one.
Yeah.
And he's only getting better.
He has made himself so much money these past few months.
Yeah. But this guy Will Ospreay, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be awesome. He's gonna rule, and he's gonna piss people off in a very similar way to all the wrestlers that have pissed people off. You guys know who they all are. So he's just the next in line. He's just the next in line. So anything they say that this guy can't do, he does. He walked in day one in this company and just raised the bar and was like, I'll compete with anyone. And what he's doing here is like, all right, I don't have a tag team belt. I don't have a secondary belt. I don't have a world belt. This is within my universe. These are guys that were under me. It's a personal thing. It's away from everything. And, you know, we've seen him on pay-per-view with Pac, as he mentioned. We've seen him, you know, wrestle Swerve. We've seen him wrestle Danielson. We've seen him wrestle Roderick Strong. We've seen him wrestle MJF. Add this to it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to be like, we're going to look up next year. And I like, after this segment, I was like, all right, man, when are we strapping this guy up? Like, what are we doing? Like, I was like, you, like, like, I already know what it's going to be. Like, this guy's excellent. And, you know, maybe next time they go to London. Let's think about it.
Wait, so Forbidden Door?
Let's think about it.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm waiting for you to elaborate, sir.
I mean, you know, like, I would think the next time they pass through London wouldn't be a bad time for him to challenge.
You're right. You know, I think May would have been better, but, you know, whatever. Because I don't, you know, if they're going to do a title change at, in Texas for All In or Y'all In, like, I don't think there's a better, like, moment for a guy than that for Ospreay on the roster. Like, first AEW World title reign, you know, guy that's been, like, buzzing all throughout the year, building momentum in that kind of way. I personally think he's the best candidate to win the belt in Texas. So, you know, but there's stuff it seems they got to deal with, right? Like, it seems like there is a long form story for Darby with that, right? Possibly. So,
and also there's somebody else running around with you know.
Well, I don't think they're going to have Christian Cage win it in fucking
claims on the belt.
Yeah, I think he's going to win. I think if he wins it or whatever else, he'll win it earlier in the year. He won't actually win it at the biggest show of the year in AEW. I don't think that's going to be a thing. That would be dumb. That would be like Triple H winning WrestleMania 16 main event.
Singles match for the AEW World Championship: Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. Yeah, this is all right. This feud, I felt like it started so kind of hot and it's kind of limped to the finish line a little bit.
Do you think it's because of repetitiveness? Because I do.
Very, very repetitive. I think Moxley's talking in way too many riddles. Like, just kind of kick it straight forward. I don't need a metaphor, as T.I. once said.
I don't think there's actually a plan. Like, all the stuff of, like, there's some like, alluding to there being some, like, person pulling the strings. I don't think there is one.
He's venturing into Wyattism.
And if there is one, actually, no, I don't, forget that. Like, I'm not even entertaining it. I don't think there is somebody coming. I think he is, like, just out of his mind, and that's cool or whatever else, but, like, he'd be a better promo or a more compelling promo to me if he weren't talking like this, because I don't think there's a shoe to drop on that. Like,
yeah, the championship has disappeared and sat in a briefcase ever since last show. He's not wrestling on TV.
Right. And he's doing this all for heat, and that's fine. But what I will say is, if he's going to do this, he needs to show ass for the babyface a little bit more. Like, Orange Cassidy needs to whoop his ass tomorrow. He needs to hit him with the orange punch, hit him with beach break, hit him with a million fucking things, and get it through your head to, like, you know, he can hurt. Not only can he, like, not forget the part, can he beat the dude? Can he hurt him? Because he has done nothing. They need to come out with nothing but whoop that babyface roster's ass for months now.
They need to come out with a stipulation that says that nobody can be at ringside either.
They're not going to have Marina come out there.
Yeah. It's like I don't think Orange Cassidy has a shot in hell at winning. So this is tough, and I'm interested in the buy rate, and I want to see it.
Rich, there's been something that I've wanted to say for a while now, right? Like, we, you know, at the end of World's End last year, I complained about how that show went off the rails, and a part of that was because there were no Elite on the show. This show has one original Elite member on the show.
Yeah.
Adam Hangman Page. No Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's due to return at some point. But like he's not going to return until January in Tokyo. Young Bucks off TV, no explanation. It's leading to something, but we don't have no idea what it is yet. Right? It seems like they're scared of Death Riders or whatever else. No Okada. Right? Jack Perry's on the show. That's New Elite, but I meant like the original Elite, right?
Yeah.
So his buy rate ain't great. It's time to people look around and be like, hey, should Adam Page, after, being a breath of fresh air coming back, should he be out here wrestling a upper mid-carder instead of being put back in the main event picture? I think it would be a question to be asked if, it doesn't go, if it goes below expectation. I don't know what Meltzer has as an over-under for an estimation for it, but like, this does feel like a cold AEW pay-per-view. And don't get me wrong, there have been other ones where it has felt cold and they go out there and do their normal number, but this don't feel the same to me.
There's a lot of good singles matches here on paper.
On paper, yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, at the top there are some really good stories. There are like Ospreay and Swerve are carrying the narrative as far as compelling programming right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not just give credit to those two as well. Fletcher has more than held up his bargain. Like I said earlier, Fletcher has made himself
and everything with the Hurt
in the future, a future millionaire. And
everything with the Hurt Syndicate has been awesome. I don't know if Ricochet and Takesha's getting added to this, but they've been, circling each other too.
That's true.
I would throw that on there if I was them. Why not?
I mean, that's super match.
Yep. So it's like, who's next for Mox in the outset of this? So I'm interested to see, in which way that goes. But I think Mox is going over pretty strong. We know they had that great match at All Out. Then they had that rematch, which was not as good because they kind of missed the moment, I think, there. And it was like the dynamics were wrong. Yeah,
and also the weird stuff with the injury against Phoenix. And then he had to drop the belt to Phoenix, and the Phoenix had to drop it right back to Orange Cassidy. And Orange Cassidy had to defend the belt against the dude that beat the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that the dynamic on that was all weird.
So, I don't know. Maybe they find magic again, but I just don't think people think Orange Cassidy can truly win. So that kind of
there's definitely the element to it. Like, and to be quite honest, we are at that stage where, like, when it comes to Moxley title reigns, where like they need to be getting shorter and shorter, and the V's need to be lower and lower. Like, if this had been Darby, I would have said you start with Darby right here. But it seems like they're trying to give Moxley a V1 or a V2 or whatever, where they get to Darby. If that still is the plan.
Yeah. Got to throw that in there.
But I, as you mentioned, I think, you look at that card is tough. It's just the TV has been kind of uneven. There's a lot of babyface getting their asses handed to them. A lot of top stars were selling injuries. Which, interestingly enough, when they came back, are the most compelling things they have on TV is Swerve come back from injury, Ospreay come back from injury. When you had all these other guys had TV time available to them, and it wasn't that great. So, for all my bitching and complaining earlier in the month, like, where, on one of those shows, you're like, where the hell are the top baby faces? Like, well, top baby face showed up and they behaved like top baby faces. And when the babyfaces underneath them had the opportunity, they did not live up to that standard. Except for maybe Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, man. Sir Sam, have him dropping that Grand Slam. This man's trying to get everything at Grand Slam in Australia. This man wants Okada Omega. That man wants a title change.
I'm not. Look, man, I ain't got nothing.
Trying to rig. He's trying to stuff the ballot box.
Look, man, I ain't got nothing to say to Sir Sam as far as Australia no more. When that man said to me that I was wrong about talking about Australia being in the same hemisphere as Japan, completely forgetting there was an Eastern and Western Hemisphere. I'm done. I ain't got nothing to say. I let Sam cook. He do what he want. I let him do what he want.
Oh, man. Oh, check out Sam's show this week. It's up on the YouTube channel. I think he dropped it early. It was talking about Mox and Danielson's first match from Revolution. Overall talk kind of on the BCC as well. So
okay,
check that one out. But yeah, I think we're running a little late tonight. So sorry, we're gonna skip the questions. But we appreciate you guys sending them in.
We'll move them down to next week.
Yeah,
like if they're still applicable, we'll move them to next week on the review show.
Yeah, and then I think we got to start figuring out FOH and all that. So I may be in Florida, still trying to figure that out. Yeah. Second week, we'll probably record it of December or something like that. But yeah, next week is I think we got one more show, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then it's James's birthday. So how do y'all want to celebrate James' birthday? Let us know. How do you want to celebrate Big James?
Now, my birthday know. My birthday is on Black Friday, the 29th. So I don't know what we're going to do, but I want no parts of it. That's on Rich. Whatever Rich comes up with, that'll be his fault. That's his fault. It'll be his fault.
Oh, man. No, this is the listeners. I'm throwing it out to them. It's their responsibility. Show my dog some love.
It'll be your fault because you enabled it. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's a great place to leave it.
Okay. Replacement phone. So give me a second to pull up the show read. Do you want to shout out the or plug the shop tees?
Yeah. Chop-tees.com. Go ahead and get your One Nation Radio merch on there, Social Suplex merch, all the different shows have very nice and unique designs. Also got One Lifetime Worldwide.com. Got some other exclusive One Nation Radio designs on there, hats as well. Definitely, and going into the holiday season, you can look fly as it gets cold outside. There's hoodies and all that. There's sweaters, I believe. On our sweaters, I should drop another One Nation Radio hoodie. Maybe we'll work on that sometime this week. And yeah, so that's it.
Yeah. If you are listening, if you're watching from the stream, you can go to the show notes in the podcast and go to the link to the Red Circle and donate there. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Amps WWE Adventure, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Tunnel Talk, and the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. I have not listened to, or I'm going to be away from listening to Keepin It Strong Style, and because I have yet to watch a historic crossover. I was trying to watch it today, couldn't get to it, but I did see the match rating when I was looking at the the Mayu stuff, and I saw a 9 next to Mayu in Momo. So, that will put that means that has to be at least one of the 3 best matches that I've seen from them. So, yeah. Can't wait to see that. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Peace.
Later.